Chris Hodge here for a quick snip. It is February 10th, Tuesday. Good to be with everyone. Not really going to recap what happened in the Super Bowl. That's been done 1,000 times already, and the thing hasn't even been over for 48 hours. We all saw the game. We all know New England was outmatched, outplayed, out-coached, out everything. I mean, there's no reason to continue to go over this. Seattle, great job, great defense. Sam Darnold, great job managing the game. He didn't have a great game, but he managed the game, and he knew his defense was much better than the New England Patriots offense. And congratulations to Kenneth Walker, upstanding human being, man. Great football player, wins the MVP, well-deserved, to the 12s in Seattle. And I believe it or not, even in New York, man, I have a couple friends and family members that are big Seattle Seahawks fans. So excited for you guys to bring home another championship, and well-earned. But let's talk about why the situation with the NFL, with their scheduling, and you get a game like this, because look, I'm not getting on New England. I'm taking nothing away from them, okay? All the people in Boston, here goes the New Yorker again being an asshole. No, I'm not saying that. Great season by New England, 14-3, bright future with Drake May, bright future with Mike Vrabel as your head coach, and a classy, well-run organization. Always has been. I believe Kraft should have been a Hall of Famer. They got that thing all screwed up, this whole different topic. But we have to say the truth. And what is the truth? New England played the easiest schedule in the history of the NFL for a team who made it to the Super Bowl. The games they played this year, the winning percentage of their opponents was 39%. They played 4 games this season out of 17, 4 against teams that made it to the playoffs. 2 were against Buffalo. 1 was against Carolina, who went 8-9 and just happened to win a bullshit division, and the other was against Pittsburgh. 4 games out of 17 against teams that made the playoffs. They played 11 games of the 17 against teams that either fired their coach or had their coach step down. 11 of the 17 games. So New England was basically a product of their schedule. Then they get to the playoffs, where C.J. Stroud has one of the worst games in the history of bad games. Now, people will say, well, New England forced him into that. No. C.J. Stroud was that bad on that day. I know, I forget who it was on ESPN. I think it was Orlovsky who has said 32 other quarterbacks or 31 other quarterbacks could have won that game. Then he had to apologize for it, which I don't understand because he wasn't wrong. Literally 31 other quarterbacks would have won that game against New England in the divisional round. 31 others would have won that game. Okay? And then you get to the AFC Conference title game where Bo Nix is out. So it was just a whole thing that happened for New England this year to get them to the Super Bowl. They took advantage of it. Their schedule was their schedule, but it got me thinking, right? I'm not going to recap the Super Bowl. I'm not going to do any of this. It got me thinking, like, hey, let's look ahead. Let's look at who plays a weak schedule in 2027 and try to take advantage of that in terms of the odds. So what team do we know is good that just had a subpar season due to injuries or a couple other breaks or a couple other things that could make a run at this next year that has pretty decent odds? And did some research. And if you look at the Detroit Lions next year, first of all, they're 16-1 to win the 2027 Super Bowl. So you're getting good odds there. 16-1. Okay. We know Detroit is a good football team, even though they had a down year in a very tough division. They do play in a tough division. But next year, they play 5 games against teams that finished in last place this season. Okay? They have the Jets, they have the Giants, they have the Titans, they have the Saints, and they have the Cardinals. 5 games. They play other games against Atlanta, who doesn't have a quarterback, Miami, who doesn't have a quarterback because they're probably going to trade Tua, and I believe they play the Atlanta, Miami. Who else is it here? Oh, Carolina, who went 8-9. Yes, they won a division. Yes, they played well in their playoff game, but they still went 8-9. So that's 8 games against teams that either finished in last place last year or teams that aren't very good. Now you get to the division. Now the division is tough. Okay, Chicago's up and coming and well coached. Green Bay is well coached and a good football team. And Minnesota's another team that just had a down year, but no quarterback. So you get those 6 games against the division, and those would be competitive games. And then you have 3 games. You get Tampa Bay, you get New England, you get Buffalo. Okay. That's not a good schedule. That's a bad schedule. Okay? So if they can get to the playoffs with that schedule, which they should if they're healthy, at 16-1, I believe you could take advantage of it and win some money in terms of maybe we get them to the game and now you got them at 16-1, you could hedge against it. But this is the way I think we need to start looking at NFL futures. Okay? You have to go look ahead and you have to go with teams that have and play terrible schedules. All right? Now, I know Detroit plays in the NFC where Seattle resides, and Seattle's not going anywhere. San Francisco's going to be very good, and the Rams are there. But what's the main theme about those three teams? They all play in the same division. They're going to play each other. Okay? The NFC East, I'm not sure about Philadelphia, and everyone else sucks in the NFC East. The NFC South, the whole division sucks. Okay? So you got the North and you got the West. So I think it's 16-1 Detroit, based on what we just saw what New England did, going from 4-3, whatever their record was, to 14-3, getting through the playoffs and getting to a Super Bowl. I think we look ahead now and we say, hey, you know what? Detroit, 16-1 with a very weak schedule coming up is a solid value bet if you're going to make a future bet. Just a little tidbit there, man. We'll see what happens. We're on into college basketball. We'll start doing that on the Bet Big Talk Loud podcast. Great game last night. I know Peterson didn't play again for Kansas, but great job by them beating number 1 Arizona and ending their undefeated season. So that was a great game last night. Now we're into college basketball. Full go. March Madness just a month away. So it gets exciting now. A lot to talk about when we do these snips and the Bet Big Talk Loud podcast. Be sure to check out takingvegas.com and girlsthatgamble.live. And for the podcast this week, we got a great one planned, so make sure you listen and watch on Friday. Everyone out there, have a great Tuesday, and we'll catch you back in a couple days on the Bet Big Talk Loud podcast.